Welcome back to Hear Me Out. I'm Dee.
I'm E.
And we're finally at the season finale of the Kardashians on Hulu.
Finally!
I know. Okay, so you guys already know the drill. We're going to go ahead and get this out the way because we need a break.
What was this episode called? I guess I didn't care much about the episode.
I could not tell you.
Oh, okay. It's called Buckle Up and Let's Go. I have to look that up. I don't know if there was like a reference to it. You know, I'm always like picky like that. I'd be like, oh, they mentioned it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, actually, Khloe did. Never mind. I take it back.
When they were on the bus?
No, when they were discussing. Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay. Yeah.
So the episode is called Buckle Up and Go, like on the West Coast. We're in San Diego now, with the tour bus crew, which is Kourtney, Khloe, Kris, and all of Blink-182. So we see their accommodations, and Kris and Khloe are fighting for a room. Kourtney says Kris is a control freak, and they all have a little bit of that Krisness in them. Yeah. Khloe calls her mom to the kitchen, and Kourt is there also. And Khloe was like, do you remember at 2:45 you said that you weren't going to complain? And so, you know, Kris deflecting. Of course. Then Kourtney asks her mom, what about you makes you or gives you the need or makes you want to control things? Kris says, I don't know. Kourtney says, you weren't like that in your 20s, but you also had a husband who led the way. I know, kind of. Yeah. But Kris agreed and says that she's now the one that leads the way. Kourtney says you have to get back to your feminine energy if you desire that. Again, Kris says, you know, when I'm with Corey is heaven, basically implying, you know, maybe she could take a step back. Yeah. She doesn't have to make all the decisions, blah, blah, blah. Right. Then Kourtney goes on her tangent, which, you know, I'm going to tell you guys, I was kind of annoyed, kind of understood, kind of wanted the show to be over. I don't know how I feel yet, but we're going to talk about it. But Kourtney was like, no, I mean more being in your feminine, which is self-care, not overthinking, not overdoing. You know, Kris was like, squirrel, you have a dimple, because she doesn't want to talk about this. No. But Kourtney didn't give. She kept on. Yeah. So then it goes all into this like reproductive talk about ovaries and the traumas that are passed down. And basically MJ and her nana, which is probably Helen Kardashian, they pass down these traumas through their bodies because of the ovaries, and they were all born, blah, 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 blah. The eggs. Which I have heard things like that before, but you know, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Let's see. Kourtney says that she started a self-awareness journey, but she didn't know what she was doing or what she was going to achieve. She started therapy because of a toxic relationship. I'm thinking it's Scott. Yeah. But she's learned so much about herself, her family, why she does certain things, childhood wounds, how those wounds show up in intimate relationships, generational trauma. So this girl is trying to be or is very self-aware at this point. Yeah,
for sure.
Khloe was like, pause, no offense, but why don't just people buckle up and let go? That's where the title comes in.
Oh my God.
And Kourtney says, you know, Khloe says, and does Kourtney think that choosing bad partners is a genetic thing? Kourtney says it's generational and it all started with MJ. So MJ was the target of everything. MJ started this all. Poor lady. She's not even there. Kris says MJ found a great partner in her dad, I guess, or Papa, whoever she calls Papa. Yeah. But then Kourtney's rebuttal was MJ was married 3 times. You know, at the end. I didn't know that either. She's just exposing her grandma left and right. Yeah. Kourtney says that we have all picked people that we thought we could change, but we couldn't, and they didn't. Kris deflects again. They start talking about this thing in the refrigerator for eggs or whatever. Why do I know all
egg
this?
holder.
Yeah, the egg holder thing.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing. Kris later sends Kourtney a video. We don't see this, but Kourtney talks about it in the confessional. And it's a video that says that one child in the family does things their own way, and they're the ones who heal the family's generational trauma. So Kris was listening.
Yeah, so
superficially though, I think. Of course.
I agree. So to just confirm, Kourtney is correct as far as, you know, every woman, you are born with all the eggs you'll ever have. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, when you're in the womb, they're already being created. So could there be, you know, generational? Yes. And then as far as her self-awareness journey, I love that for her. Like, it's amazing because there's a lot of truth in, you know, the fact that traumas impact the myriad of choices that you made throughout your life. If mm-hmm. you are not, you know, in a good place, it's going to be difficult for you to be able to, you know, make certain decisions. And it really does paint a lot of, like, you know, the choices in your life. So I'm glad that for her, she's kind of, you know, been able to get out from, you know, those issues. Mm-hmm. And that she's, like, at the very least trying to spread the knowledge, even if, you know, some people aren't receptive to it. But she's also right. You know, you can't change people. You can't keep trying to change people, especially if they don't want to change. At the end mm-hmm. of the day, if the journey is successful for her, that's great. And really, that's all that should matter. I did feel a way when she said that she was in a toxic relationship, because it was just kind of like, did you have to use that, you know, like, word?
Well, to clarifier, it was saying, you know, basically I joined therapy because, you know, maybe they were in couples counseling and that's where the therapy started, or maybe that's what the therapist said. You were in a toxic relationship, you know?
I know, but it hurt. I felt so bad. But yeah, no, I mean,
well, it does seem like she's always trying to, you know, throw little jabs at Scott here and there, like these little subliminals. So I don't know if she's holding a little resentment there, or maybe we're reading too much into it. Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. But in this section, I'm so happy. I guess I could say that. I'm so happy that Kourtney is so enlightened and so self-aware. But I also think it's a little obnoxious, because just because you're in this space, you know, it doesn't mean that people should copy you and do the same things. And I think they talk about it a little later. Like, you know, she'll mention, well, I know my whole family needs therapy, but maybe therapy is not for them, or they have other resources that they use, or, you know, find other ways to heal and be better. You know, it's almost seems, I don't know, braggadocious. It seems like, you know, I know better than you because now I'm in therapy and I'm this new person and traumas, and I'm so holistic. And, you know, she's just like, hey, you know, you've known these people. I think Khloe's 38, her mom's in her 60s. People don't really make big changes at this point. Personalities are set.
Yeah.
Can we adopt some things? Of course. But, you know, just because you're in this space doesn't mean that you need to, like, make it sound like people are doing the wrong thing because you found your way of doing the right thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get you. And let me put my braggadocious hat on here, a la Kourtney.
Yeah.
No. I totally agree with you. I think that when you find something that works for you, you want to help others.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you see some of these same issues that you had and you see them in other people, you want to try and help them. especially because now you have the tools, right? But at a certain point, you have to know when to pull back, because like you said, that may not be what works for them. Therapy may not be for them or for anybody, for everybody or whatever. So that's kind of like something that I've had to like learn. I've been doing therapy for a year or a little over a year now. And, I kind of felt the same way a little bit in the beginning, where it was like, oh, I wanted to help, all these people. I wanted to give all of this like free knowledge because, therapy's expensive, y'all. So, I wanted to like kind of just relay some of the same information. But I also had to learn and understand that not everybody, really cares to hear that, or not everybody really, feels that that's something that's necessary for them. And
right time.
Right.
And receive of information.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, is that you have to, and I wholeheartedly promote and refer and recommend therapy to everybody, but you have to be in a place and in a space in time where you're willing to be receptive to some of this information, because therapy is not easy. Therapy is one of the hardest things you can possibly do, because you're confronted with really harsh truths a lot of the time that you may not want to be faced with, that you may not want to deal with, So it's not for everybody. It can be quite difficult. And, if you have other ways of dealing, if you have other ways of healing trauma and getting out of, generational trauma and all that stuff, that's great. But, I think that like, that's something that maybe Kourtney's kind of, understanding. Like, you cannot spend your time trying to fix people, trying to change people. They have to be willing to like do the work themselves whenever they're ready for that.
Yeah. And she did say that later, which, I appreciated, because I was feeling some kind of way about this episode. And, she's done it in the past. Well, therapy did this. I mean, I get it. Therapy's helped you, but not everybody needs therapy or wants therapy or, whatever.
Yeah.
But good for her. Therapy works. She's found her happiness, the love of her life.
Yeah.
Her miracle Rocky, I don't know what number baby, 13 baby. It is what it is. So, I don't know. Was Khloe and Kris receptive to this? I don't think so. I think they were annoyed.
What's crazy though? I think that like, as far as Kris, it might be a little bit too late. But I think Khloe could benefit from some form of therapy. Maybe not. It doesn't have to be conventional. Maybe it could be a different sort, like therapy, something else. Because I think that she does have trauma, and we've seen that throughout the season. Things that she may still be holding on to, resentful about. And so, if you've tried all these other things and it has not helped, why not try that?
I would say she needs to go to therapy, because probably the therapist is the only person that would actually listen to what she's saying.
Oh.
Because, her family tripping. And so are her friends.
Yeah.
How do we feel about Kourtney and her enlightenment and her happiness and, revealing toxic relationships and shading Scott here and there? So if you haven't already done so, please subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. We had a huge surge of subscribers these last few days. So thank you guys. Please continue sharing our videos. We greatly appreciate it, because your friends could be our friends. We could all be friends. Yeah. I think we're pretty cool peeps. We keep it real. We're pretty insightful, and we can talk crap. You have everything here. We also have social media, which Dee'll tell you about.
We're on TikTok and Instagram at Hear Me Out DNE. So make sure you guys follow, like, share, comment. We enjoy interacting with you guys, and feedback is hilarious a lot of the time. We don't take ourselves so serious, guys. So,
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the comments sting, like the way North was just ranking on people. all in good spirit. I'll just laugh it off like 3 days later. I'll be like, can you believe they said that about us? But we appreciate it. We love having these conversations with you guys. And sometimes you bring a different perspective.
Right.
Which, we kind of bring it back into the channel and talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, it's always good to have, the differing perspectives and everything. It helps us to also like evolve,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, Kourtney. I think that concludes today's episode. We'll see you next time. We don't know when the Kardashians are premiering, but we needed this break. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Go have some fun, guys. Peace out.
Bye.
Bye.